Every night, it starts the same way. The lights go out, the house settles into silence, and that's when I hear it. A faint scratching, like dry leaves skittering across pavement, coming from right beneath my bed. At first, I told myself it was just the house settling, or the wind, but then came the whispers. So quiet, they were more a feeling than a sound, a vibration that traveled up through the mattress and into my bones. I'd freeze, pulling the covers up to my chin, my heart hammering against my ribs. I'd stare into the inky blackness under the bed, but I could never see anything. Just shadows that seemed to writhe and twist when I wasn't looking directly at them. In my mind, I painted a picture of the creature that lived there. I called it the monster with no eyes. I imagined it long and thin, all sharp angles and rough dark skin. It didn't need eyes, because somehow I knew it could see me anyway. It saw every nervous twitch, every time I held my breath. It knew my fear intimately, like an old friend. This knowing was the worst part. It wasn't an aggressive presence, not yet. It was just aware, an unbearable, silent awareness that filled the entire room, making the air thick and heavy, hard to breathe. The scratching would get a little louder, a little closer to the edge of the bed, and the whispers would sound almost like my own name, stretched and distorted. Night after night, the fear grew. It was a physical thing, a cold knot that tightened in my chest until I felt like I would shatter. I tried sleeping with the lights on, but the shadows it cast were even worse, dancing and morphing into more terrifying shapes. The space under my bed became a forbidden territory, a black hole that seemed to pull all the warmth and safety out of my room. I'd lie awake for hours, my body rigid, listening, just listening. The silence between the scratches was somehow more terrifying than the noise itself. It was a silence filled with anticipation, with the certainty that something was about to happen. I could feel its presence getting stronger, closer. It was no longer just under the bed. It felt like it was in the air, right next to my face. One night, something shifted. The fear was still there, a cold serpent coiled in my stomach, but alongside it was something else, a desperate curiosity, an unbearable need to know. What was this thing that haunted my nights? Why was it here? Was it going to hurt me? The questions echoed louder than the whispers. I lay there, trembling, my hand hovering over the edge of the blanket. My mind screamed at me to stop, to pull back and hide. But my arm kept moving, inch by agonizing inch, lowering itself into the darkness. I reached down, my fingers outstretched, expecting to feel sharp claws or jagged teeth. I was ready for pain, for the sudden violent end to the nightly terror. But what I touched was unexpected. It wasn't scaly or hard. It was skin, cold, damp, and surprisingly soft. The moment my fingers made contact, the scratching stopped. The whispers ceased. A profound stillness fell over the room, and then I felt it recoil. Not with aggression or anger, but with a jolt that felt like fear. It pulled away from my touch as if it had been burned. In that single, silent moment, everything changed. The terrifying, all-knowing monster was not a predator. It was just as scared as I was. It wasn't the monster's eyes that saw me. It was its loneliness. It wasn't whispering threats. It was calling out in the only way it knew how. And I realized that sometimes the things that scare us the most aren't monsters at all. They're just lonely souls, lost in the dark, hoping someone will finally reach out.